Keep it going. Keep it going. This is the Wheelhouse podcast, live and exclusive. Our first ever OB, Kate Bates, in the business. I think they call that an outside broadcast. I'll have to check with Merksy. I Googled it, but I wasn't 100% sure. But anyway, we're here in Wollongong. We're at the Made in Racing Specialised Australia pop-up. It's a unique venue. What do you think of it?
It's beautiful. This is our first live crowd, Joel.
Give us a shout out, everyone. Go. Say hello.
Woohoo. That's a lot of noise for one person.
I know. I don't know how you were able to multiply your applause sound. That was brilliant. Thank you so much. It's a lot to talk about live in Wollongong, or recording in Wollongong, I should say. Story of the day is a good turn of elbow grease from your mate AVV.
Literally elbow grease.
Big time elbow grease.
Yes.
Going to get to that. This is the Chasing Rainbows edition of the Wheelhouse. Before anything else, I want to chat about your week, okay? Because I know the girls today put in an extraordinary effort over a long distance, but I reckon you might have them for kilometres this week. You have been buzzing between Sydney, Wollongong and everywhere else.
Yes, well, we started our broadcast in Wollongong last weekend, and then we were back in Sydney for the broadcast, and then we were back in Wollongong. I actually caught the train down last night.
Yeah.
It was a real pleasure, Joel.
Yeah.
I met some locals.
Beautiful scenery. Oh, no, hang on. It was like
it was
9
dark,
o'clock,
yes.
wasn't it? Yeah.
And then when I got off said lovely train ride, I came to find you guys, and you were schmoozing, wine in hand.
Yeah, your
at an event.
mate Cadell actually put on a lovely event last night. We'll chat about that a little bit later. But you have been here for the majority of the World Champs, and I just want to chat about Wollongong, the reception in Wollongong. What do you think? What's the vibe been?
It's been pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's been great. Well, the first day that I drove in, I was kind of impressed with what I saw, with the whole setup, because I've been to a lot of these events before, but seeing it in your own hometown, I'm from Sydney, but I've been down here so much, it's so familiar to me, that it felt a little bit odd to see it all here, and that's when kind of the gravitas hit me. But there have been so many fans out. So many fans. I haven't seen any running in a Borat outfit yet. That's disappointing.
I left it at home, okay? I was really hoping you weren't going to bring up the mankini.
There's another day. We could still
is there?
Get it out, yeah.
Good.
It's meant to be sunny tomorrow too.
Good. Oh, great. Okay. Look, I think it's been great too. I think the whole town has very much got behind. I went past a church earlier today, and you know those little billboards that they have churchy kind of messages on. It was a very cycly style church message. I was like, okay, that's a very
well, it's
biblical.
Fitting. I mean, I don't know if it was a Catholic church, but we've got our first ever rider from the Vatican.
Yeah.
This year is competing, so we have been trying to figure out if he actually has to be Catholic to compete for the Vatican, and nobody knows the answer.
I
would have thought that was an easy answer.
Yeah, that's a really interesting
easy yes,
one.
but no, he's Dutch and his wife is Australian, and she works in Vatican City, and so they gave him a passport so that he could ride.
Wow.
It's a little bit of a convoluted.
Where does he train?
What I'm saying, Joel, is there's hope for you yet.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much. I can continue to pray. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
if that's how you do it.
Merksy, our esteemed executive producer, and myself have been very busy the last few days. We've been here as well. It's been raining rain. It's also been raining Wheelhouse flyers in the Gong. I don't think there's a business house or person we haven't given a flyer to. I also want to thank listener for the coffees. I meant to ask you, did we need to pay for them? Because we really loaded up on listener coffees.
That's a bit awkward. Did you take a coffee? Did you seriously take a coffee?
Maybe took a handful of coffees
and not pay?
No.
All right.
I didn't. There was no. Anyway,
I can't walk past there tomorrow now.
Yeah, I knew
my face is literally on the flyer.
It's become a bit
awkward. And
awkward.
you've stolen coffee.
Yeah, just a handful.
Joel.
I also want to start by apologising to the entire nation of Denmark, because there was
my home country.
Yeah, your cousin.
41% as per ancestry.com, but
I'm kind of glad your cousin, 16th cousin Jonas, isn't here, because I made a bit of a fool of myself yesterday, and Merksy was with me, and we were running around and getting excited because the Swiss had their win in the mixed teams, and it was all very exciting. And I went up to a guy and I was like, "Mate, show me your Swiss flag." And he looked at me and he goes, "That's a Denmark flag. It's a Danish flag."
What?
And I said, "I know, but
No, what? How did you manage to do that?
I
Red
was-
and white?
Yeah,
Is that the criteria?
it's like Australia, New Zealand, but it's not. They're so not similar.
Do you
It
know
was
what the Polish flag looks like? Are we
As
going
long
to
as
get
you
in
have
trouble with that?
Absolutely no follow-up questions. Yes, of course I do.
It's red and white as well. I'm a bit concerned.
Yeah, a little bit concerned. At least I didn't say, go Canada. But anyway, that happened. I wanted to say sorry to them. I also want to apologise to the people of Wollongong because this morning I went for a swim in the ocean, just in an act of solidarity with the women on the course today, just to feel that frost, and got caught in a wave and board shorts might have slipped down. You know I like to talk about the Trident and the Dutch Trident, but maybe the Joel Trident.
Joel, how did you not get arrested today?
Well, like everyone was watching
Oh my
the racing
gosh.
and
Tell
not the
me
beach.
they weren't Wheelhouse board shorts.
No, they haven't arrived
Small
yet.
mercies.
Thankfully. Now,
Or haven't been ordered, incidentally.
yeah, that's true.
And
we
be
won't be
now.
able to now because we've got to pay for the listener coffees. This is the Wheelhouse podcast coming to you live from the Made in Racing pop-up for Specialised Wollongong 2022. The women's elite road race was something else. Now, we were going to have a special guest, a very, very special guest, but something happened, Kate Bates. Something happened that has scuppered that appearance. Do you want to tell me what went down?
Oh, look, I'm a bit disappointed. I've got to say, when people commit to something, Joel, they should commit to something.
When you're locked in.
Yeah, and we had a third stool here. I had to remove it. It was just hurting me too much to see an empty stool. We were meant to have Neve Fisher-Black on. And look, she's a little bit self-centred, Joel, because she went and won herself the under-23 road title, and now she's caught up with drug testers,
Yeah.
and she's not here.
She did text to say, my preference would obviously be appearing on the Wheelhouse podcast.
Clearly.
But a couple of protocols.
I mean, because they even gave us some Bridge Road Brewers beer up here, like celebratory for Neve.
Yep.
She'll have to pick it up on another occasion. But seriously though, Joel, historic occasion. New Zealand has never won a medal in the women's category, juniors, under 23s, albeit the first year, or elite women in any road event. So massive.
Yeah, it's huge.
And to do it with a gold medal, like, it's just phenomenal. I had goosebumps.
Now, on the Wheelhouse podcast, Chasing Rainbows edition, coming to you from the Made in Racing pop-up from Specialised Australia in Wollongong. Kate, I've got a doco for you. I know you love your docos.
I do.
I've got one. I feel like I've been lagging in the doco pictures. I've got one for you. It's called Shit to Champagne, the Annemiek van Vleuten story. Now, the reason I say the S word is because when she described her first performance at these championships in the time trial, she used what word?
Shit.
Today, it's safe to say she's probably turned it around, so shit to champagne I think
I
might
like
work.
that. I do like that.
We've got a bit of vision of Annemiek not long after the result, an extraordinary result. And we can't quite hear what she's saying, but if you're a lip syncer, if you can read lips, pretty sure you can tell. Unbelievable potty
Yes.
mouth, but she deserves it.
There's there's an acronym for it. She didn't say the acronym, but the acronym is WTF. Really awkward. No, that was absolutely remarkable. We're used to seeing her win because she's just physically so much better. And she's done the Triple Crown this year, the Women's Giro, the Tour de France, the Tour of Spain. And on each occasion, there was at least one stage where she won by minutes and minutes, and just nobody could get anywhere near her. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't the case today. She actually got dropped on the climb the last 3 times up there. Mm-hmm. So she wasn't able to get out of her seat. But the timing of her, like, I'll call it a late attack, like early jump, late attack.
Yep.
I mean, close, because it was done in such a powerful way. That was like race strategy brilliance.
It's
incredible tactical nous.
Folklore, straight away.
It is.
We love talking about comebacks.
Well, the last time she won in 2019 in Yorkshire, someone in our crowd will correct me if that was 2018, but either way, in Yorkshire, she won after soloing for 100 kilometres. So very, very different wins.
Yeah.
And she acknowledged that post-race. She was like, I can't really believe it. I didn't come out here to win. I did, but I didn't think it could ever happen. Mm. And so I was all in for the team. And, I mean, she didn't say shit, but she said, I was all in for the team and then, well, they weren't there.
Yeah.
So then I went. And so, maybe a little slight kind of nudge at the team.
Just a tiny little jab, a tiny little left hook. No, jab. Can we call it a quad crown now?
Whichever didn't work with the bad elbow, I suppose.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. I hit you with my cast. Giro Tour Welter Worlds, is that now the Quad Crown? Is that an official thing?
I'm pretty sure it's never been done.
Okay, that's
I
awesome.
cannot imagine it being done again.
I was going to ask you the other day.
I mean, maybe Zoe Backstead. We can talk about her in a minute.
Happy birthday, Zoe. We'll get into that in a sec. But I was going to ask you the other day, would Movistar be happy? You know, this whole, I'm going to come and race. It's like, come on, mate, you're injured. You've got no chance. Don't bother. How do you reckon they're feeling now?
I think they're thrilled, absolutely thrilled. I don't think that they ever really tell her what to do. You know, she kind of floats her own canoe to a degree and makes decisions that other athletes don't make, and that's why she's brilliant.
Yep.
And so I think that they would have been concerned for her and actually really disappointed and hoped that she could race. And if she says she can, she can.
Yep.
And she said she could, and we thought she was there in a support role. Maybe a bit of a theory.
Go on.
This is a
here we
hard
go.
one, though. This is a hard one, conspiracy theory, because I really like her and I think she's a good person.
Oh, no.
So-
I'm worried about what you're going to say here.
What if the elbow's fine? What if that was like this Dutch sneaky tactic so everyone wrote her off?
Catherine L. Bates.
I said it.
What do you think of the Aussies? Tough day in the saddle.
They did well. How about Sarah Roy? Oh, I got excited when she attacked.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. Because I just had a feeling that the Aussies were on a good day. And when she did that, in my mind, when she got brought back in, Amanda Spratt was going to go and then she'd get drawn back in and then Alex Manley was going to go over the final climb with the break. It didn't quite happen
Didn't
like that.
quite happen.
No, but they rode really well. I mean, I think there's an awful lot to be proud of.
I want to give a shout out, if you don't mind, on the Wheelhouse podcast, Click and Decision Inc. So, machines versus humans. Now, this was a big topic of discussion on this very podcast. Can machines do it better? You were a bit nervous because you're a human and an expert.
I am a human.
So, I want to reveal officially that they got first, second, and fifth in their predictions. So
That's pretty
had
impressive.
AVV in there, and we were laughing, we were scoffing the other night. We were going, AVV in number one. She's not even going to race.
Let's
I want
move
to do a quick wrap up of the juniors. That now we spoke about Zoe Backstead before. Her spirit animal is officially a magpie because she attacked like a magpie. 10 kilometres in, dominated for the next 57.
Well, thankfully she didn't, peck anybody's eyes out or draw blood or anything like that.
Oh, she could though if she wanted to.
She probably
Did you see
could
the eyes?
actually.
Like, the
I know, she
ferocity
was
of
very
the-
determined.
She's an incredible athlete.
Yeah, no, happy birthday to her. That makes her, in my estimation, the junior goat. Right?
Okay.
Because she has won now 5 junior world titles, 4 different events across 3 disciplines. Wow. So Madison, road race, individual time trial, cyclocross. There's another one. Points race.
Points race. Your old favourite.
My thing. I'm glad I didn't have to race her.
Taking yourself out of the argument, of course, is she one of the best you've seen at that age?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I do think she is the junior goat because the only person I could compare her to is the goat, Marianne Vos, who goes across disciplines like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, Wout van Aert, Mathieu van der Poel, they go all right. They go across disciplines. But they weren't as dominant as juniors across every different style of event.
Okay.
So she's tenacious too. She's really cool. But she went up the climb on her own 3 of the 4 times because she attacked them. She attacked them on the downhill. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of cruel, isn't it? Like everybody expects the attack on the uphill, but the downhill, that's something different. And the next 3 laps she went up and she did get serenaded with happy birthday, and she had who is becoming an icon now. We need to name our icon, and it is a young lady in a pink onesie.
I saw that. It was beautiful.
And she has done every lap of the championships, running alongside. Yesterday she had some wardrobe changes. So she started in a pink unicorn onesie. She went in and put a wetsuit on, had a pink wetsuit for a while, goggles and everything. Like she was going for it. That seemed to be uncomfortable and restrictive. She couldn't keep up, went back to the onesie. But she shouted to her, and she said afterwards, Zoe said afterwards, that she had this moment, like, how did she know my name? Like, it was the most special thing. And I thought that was the most lovely, humble thing an athlete could say.
Well,
and this little girl's absolute hero now.
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm Kate Bates waffled today.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say, get used to it, Zoe, because honestly, like those kind of performances. Now,
and then in the elite women's race, just to keep on the theme of unicorn onesie girl, Eleanor Backstead, the older sister, was in the break. And they went up the hill 2 times in the break. Same said unicorn onesie girl was screaming, "Come on, Eleanor Backstead."
My goodness.
So that was pretty cool. And the camera caught Eleanor like having a giggle to it. So that's pretty special.
She's not like little sister Backstead, any kind of Backstead.
No.
No? Okay,
no.
just a super fan.
No, just a super fan.
How good.
Yeah,
That's
just
fantastic.
like ours. Did you hear our super fans hollering in the background?
Yeah, shout outs left, right and centre here at the Made in Racing Specialised.
Don't get too rowdy now.
Specialised Australia pop-up here.
Hold
on.
on.
Wait just 1 second. Wait just 1 second here. We're just going to pause.
Oh my gosh.
Because something's going down.
Joel.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the newly crowned Women's Under 23 World Champion is in the house, Niamh Fisher-Black.
Come
the
on
pride
up.
of New Zealand, the pride of Australia, the pride of the world, and the pride of the Wheelhouse.
Oh my! I literally have goosebumps.
I've got goosebumps. Please come here.
Please
Come on up, please.
Don't let him scare you.
Yeah, no, I could put a paper bag on.
He doesn't bite hard. This is so exciting. Okay, look, Niamh, we thought you might be in doping control, and we thought we'd been flicked, and we thought that was understandable. I'm just thrilled that you are here. I'm Kate. This is Joel. This is
Hi.
Kate. I'm Joel. Whichever way you want to call us, you're a world champion. You can pretty much do whatever you want now. Talk us through that victory. That was absolutely sensational. History for New Zealand, the first female to ever win any colour medal on the road, let alone the rainbow stripes. What an incredible moment for you.
Yeah, super cool. It's a rainbow jersey, as you say. I remember I got up this morning and I read Anna van der Breggen's post saying how special it is to pull on a jersey and on this jersey and things like that. And I just, let that little glimmer of hope, that little dream in my head go, I hope at the end of the day maybe I'll get that feeling too. And yeah, here I am wearing a rainbow jersey.
And looking
so
resplendent in it, might I add. You didn't have a heap of teammates out there like some of the big strong teams. How did you tackle the race? Did you go in with a focus to get the best result you could? Was it about just trying to win the under 23 title or just about survival?
Yeah, that's the weird thing about World Championships. It's always a really strange dynamic because you have teams of like 1 or 2 and teams of 8 like the Italians. And it's just sort of about, like any race, playing to your strengths. And I didn't have the strength of a team behind me today, so I had to a little bit use the other riders and be patient more than anything, I think. I knew it was a long race and that it was going to probably open up in the last few laps. In terms of the race, I was still in the elite race, so obviously I still thought about the elite race and thought about still the race I was in, crossing the line first. That was always the goal. But in the back of my mind there was always the little thought of, actually there's 2 rainbow jerseys up for grabs today, and I'm glad at least I came home with one of them, so it's nice.
My God, absolutely. I mean, there were 128 other riders who didn't come home with one, I might add, so you did pretty well there. With a couple of laps to go, you were in that front group and they were just blistering up the climb. Was that the first point in the race where you thought, okay, this is it? Like, this is the moment where I just cannot afford to pause for a moment?
Yeah. I think in this type of race, you can't afford to pause in any moment, and that's the hardest thing about it, is 4.5 hours of full focus. And I kept on having to tell myself, just focus, Niamh, just focus. And the first few laps on the circuit were pretty, not easy, but not too much was happening, but I really knew from within 3 laps to go, when we had 2 laps to go, I knew, okay, it's going to open up this lap. I was prepared. I prepared myself. I got myself in a good position. And, for sure enough, attacks went right from the bottom of that steep part. And it was just, a fight to the top. I really tried to stay with those top, I think, 4 or 5 girls, but I was just off the back of them both the second to last and the last climb. but put me in a good position to sort of fight back to them, and in the end we came back. So all was good.
Well, you said that it wasn't not easy, but kind of alluded to it wasn't that hard. Joel, what do you reckon? Should we send you up for a lap at Neve's pace and see how you go?
No, definitely not.
I don't want to either.
Never. Firstly, they didn't make you walk here, did they? Because it's a bit of a hill to get here. Did you get a lift here?
No, I got a lift. Yeah.
Okay, good. That would have been awkward. Yeah. Now, have you? I saw you not long after the finish, and I think it was still sort of computing. It was still sort of sinking in. There was a moment of where you kind of had a bit of a look around. And how long did it take to actually realise what you'd achieved? It's such a massive moment in history for you today. When did it process? When did it sink in?
I mean, the thing is, you finish the race with so much adrenaline, and at first I was just in absolute shock that I just watched Annemiek win the race with a broken elbow. But then, it slowly started to come. People started to come up to me and congratulate me, and I was like, I've actually done quite well here. And then I think it really didn't sink in until, I pull on the jersey on the podium and hear the New Zealand national anthem. That's a moment that it's a really special moment.
I hummed along with you. I pretended I sang along. Yeah. You were singing. I don't actually know the words. I'm sorry.
No. I'm sure we're going to learn them because we're going to hear them a lot from now on. Have you had a text message from home yet? Has Jacinda got in touch yet?
Jacinda hasn't been in touch yet, but I hope to hear from her.
Yeah, JR, she's on the WhatsApp chat. She'll jump in.
She's on the group chat, right? Yeah.
I actually, walking up here from our broadcast spot near the finish, I saw a guy who claims to be on the selection panel for the New Zealand national team. Although he didn't give me his name, so I'm not sure that that's real. But he suggested that we paper, scissors, rock over whether Australia could claim your victory, just like we've claimed Pavlova. We didn't end up doing paper, scissors, rock, but I think I would have won. And so, would you mind if we kind of brought you under our wing?
It's a big question.
It's a lot of pressure for a young lady. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I don't know. I do have some ties to Australia. My sister lives here.
That'll do.
That's it.
I really would need to work on my Aussie accent because definitely it's on the Kiwi side.
No, I'm not too fussed. I'm fine about that.
No,
We're
do
very
not worry.
accepting.
You can speak whatever language or whatever accent you want.
Joel, this is our first gold medal of the championship.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. We've just witnessed history.
We're both a little bit starstruck here, if you don't mind. Can we have a round of applause from everyone present? We have women's under 23 rainbow jersey winner, and can I just say it's a great fit, and I got a feeling, I got a good feeling it ain't the last. What does this do to you from a motivation point of view? Like, you obviously got to take some time to process it, but what's next?
Next? Well, in the immediate future, I'm taking a bit of a holiday. My season's, this was my last race, so taking a bit of a break. But yeah, as you say, motivation-wise, I've had a good race today, and I felt good, and I've taken away a rainbow jersey. So I have all the motivation to come back next year and see what I can do next year.
Another go. Glasgow. That's going to be a special one. Hey, I don't know if you noticed when you were out there because, there's a fair bit going on when you're racing and all that. But the minute the rain started falling, all of the disc brakes, it was like a symphony. And because there's so many corners, you could hear, and I mean, it was really bad yesterday because there was so much water in the men's race. Yeah. But it was a real thing that you could hear on the broadcast, and it was actually quite harmonic and musical. It was nice. When you're out there, what are you noticing? Like, especially when it got wet, did you really notice the conditions changed, or were you just so focused in on the strategy and the tactics that it didn't matter whether it was sunny or Armageddon raining?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Actually, most of the race, I was looking at the clouds thinking, come on, rain, come on.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I want it to rain.
Oh, because you've done a bit on gravel too, haven't you?
Yeah, I like my gravel. Yeah, but also when it rains, I think it mentally a lot of people go, oh, no, rain. But if you can fight through that, then it's something else. And I was also imagining the epic pictures of climbing up the climb in the rain. But yeah, in terms of like what I think about, when it started raining, obviously it's a fast and potentially slippery course. So you have to think a little bit about changing the way that you're approaching corners and the braking especially. But yeah, actually I quickly found today that I felt pretty comfortable. I had a lot of grip. So yeah, I was good, really good handling, and it was good in the rain. Yeah.
Do you reckon...
pretty good in the rain. I think, you went pretty well in the rain. Do you remember your first ever race, just quickly? Can we take a little bit trip back in time? I just want to get a bit sentimental.
A little bit tangent, Joel.
Sorry, I'm just getting all caught up in the moment. Sorry, but do you remember like when did you think you were going to be here?
Yeah, for sure. I remember my first ever race. I was, did I think I was going to be here? I don't know, but I just knew that I had this deep hunger to win. So, and I just wanted to keep on going back and trying to win. So, yeah, I think quickly it became a dream to be here, and the rainbow jersey is something, that every cyclist looks to, and that's something I've always dreamed about, a rainbow jersey. So, yeah, the World Championships itself is a special race to be at and to be a part of, and to wear a rainbow jersey at the end of it is even more special. So, yeah, of course I dreamed.
Do you reckon, another little tangent here, because, that's how we roll here at the Wheelhouse, because you can imagine a house with wheels doesn't roll very well at all, incidentally. Do you reckon you like the rain because you've got black kit and you don't have to argue with the laundromat every time that you race in the rain? Because as Aussies with white kit, we were never really fans.
I think that's another potential reason why I like it, because, black kit works well with it. I did see some German riders come in from the junior race yesterday in white shorts in the rain.
Whose decision was that? Well, no, but here's a hard decision for you, right? When I was national champion and our Aussie national champion kit is, white with the stripes, I was in a German team, must be a German theme here, and they thought it was a good idea, Neve, to give me white nicks for the whole season. And I felt like every race, especially if it looked even mildly cloudy or wet roads, I spent the first half of the race apologising to everybody around me because I knew what they were experiencing with the white nicks. A little bit of see-through. I don't think friends should let friends race in see-through nicks just quietly.
Was this the same team that gave you the chocolate oil massage?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
No, that was another
white
team.
Nicks, chocolate oil.
There's a whole other story in that. I got a chocolate massage off a soigneur in a team back in the day. Yes.
It's all ahead of you, mate.
Anyway, look, that's something we
can... I haven't experienced that ever.
I'm glad to hear that. Now, can you race... What races can you race in this jersey? We were talking about this today on the broadcast. As under-23 champion, there aren't any specific under-23 races. So when do you get to wear the kit? All the time?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's just... I wear it to bed maybe.
That's a good place to start.
But that's the thing. We don't have too many specific under-23 races for women's cycling at the moment, but so I probably won't get to wear it in a race, especially because this is my final race of this season, and this season is my final year as an under-23. So
come on now, like a club race, like anything. Can you make sure SD Works get you the kit made up?
Yeah, maybe I can do a club race when I get back home.
Why not?
In this baggy thing. Maybe.
Or you could, jump on Zwift or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Because a race is a race, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Surely you can get rainbow stripes inside.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I know someone. I can ask someone about that. Yeah, I reckon.
I wonder if we could put it out to Zwift. I don't know. Am I making eye contact with someone that we might be able to ask right now? I'm not sure.
I think we can get Merksy to arm wrestle for it.
I got to ask.
He's got a set of biceps on him.
Yeah, he does.
Now that was the biggest tangent I've taken all night.
But he still won't push the trolley, Kate Bates. He still won't push the trolley, but that's okay. On the Wheelhouse podcast and the Maiden Racing Specialised Hub in Wollongong, joined by the freshly crowned first under-23 women's world champion from Australia. From New Zealand for now, Neve Fisher-Black. Now I have to ask you, magpies or seagulls? What would you, if you had to be attacked? What would you go with?
Oh, I don't like the magpies. So, but at least seagulls, you can see them coming. Like if you turn around and look at a magpie, it's straight in your eyes. So
So are we concerned about Balcomolama's eyesight then, perhaps?
Yeah.
He didn't really seem to see.
Yeah, I did. I don't know. I think Balcomola was maybe, when something bad happens in a race, like you have a mechanical out of your control, then sometimes you're not seeing right because you're angry or something. So yeah, maybe he didn't see it.
Well, because we were thinking that maybe he'd, rolled in hot chips before he put his skin suit on, and that's what it was. But
Took a dip in the deep fryer before he got on the bike.
I think Neve's theory is probably more logical.
Maybe a little bit more astute. But I just wonder what's going through the mind of a bird that goes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a beeline for a speeding bike wheel and put my head as close as I can to the spokes as I can.
I mean, I think Balca's skin suit zipper was going through its head.
Yeah. That's what was going through its head. Yeah. There's a little bit of solidarity in colours though. Magpie's bit of New Zealand colour going on, so maybe we can call you the flying magpie, maybe.
Yeah, well, I believe we do also have magpies in New Zealand, but they're very unwelcome. They're one of those things that Australia, why do they bring them here? But yeah, they are the right colours. So
I've planted a seed, haven't I?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that I've got 2 questions left, and then I feel as though you deserve to, go and celebrate with some sparkling water or something like that. My first question is, did you do anything different with your bike today for this course? Because everybody's been talking about tyres and tyre pressures and what kind of bikes people are riding. There's all these tech nerds out there, and if you've got to bear with them. So was there anything different to your normal bike setup?
Well, nothing specifically different, but obviously we look at the tyre pressure, and we're running these nice new Specialized tyres.
Oh, is this a secret? Is this a secret?
No.
Hey, we won't tell anyone.
No, they've just been released. Just been released a few days ago, actually. The Turbo, I think they're called.
Turbo,
But
yeah.
they're very. They got me around very well today, and
There's an endorsement.
yeah.
What's in a name? Am I
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a decision on the start line as to whether the roads were going to be wet or not, what tyre pressure to run. I decided to go pretty much my dry tyre pressure, but in the end it rained. But
Which is
it was still good.
What's your tyre pressure?
Oh, not much because I don't weigh much.
No.
So I was running about just under 4 bar on the front today, and then just over 4 bar on the back.
Interesting.
Pretty low.
Yeah, Joel, I don't think we'd get away with running that same kind of tyre pressure, but
What are you suggesting, Kate? No, okay, no, I definitely
yeah, I
wouldn't.
wasn't quite sure how I was going to answer that with any decorum, so I'm glad you moved on. Yes. Now, my final question to you. I feel as though, given what you've just achieved, and given that we've just adopted you and to the dysfunctional family of Australia.
Welcome.
I feel like you need a nickname. Have you got a nickname already? Or are you open to Joel and I spitballing it over the next little while and coming up with something other than the Flying Magpie?
Well, I get all sorts of combinations of my name just because it's spelt so strangely, apparently.
Yes. Well, yes. Hold on. For our listeners and our viewers, tell us how you pronounce your name.
So it's said Neve,
Neve.
like it's got a V in it, but it's got no V in it.
Yes.
Phew.
I'm going to play that back to some unspecified named cycling commentators who might have argued with me today, dead set that your name was Neem. And I said, I don't believe it is. And do you know...
Do you get Neem a lot, though?
A lot. I get all sorts of combinations. Nyamha.
Nyamha.
Yeah.
That's a very literal reading of
it. Yeah.
I actually only know it's Neve because I Googled it maybe 18 months ago because it kept coming up and somebody on Twitter said her name is Neve. And I was like, okay, all right. And I Googled it and somebody told me. So there you go. So now we've sorted it. Okay, I think the nickname is in our hands now, Joel. She can't have the flying mullet either because there's another Kiwi rider who goes by the flying mullet. And incidentally, she doesn't have a mullet, so that wouldn't suit anyway.
That would be an issue. You've given a few flying mullets out, though.
I know. Well, there's a lot of mullets
Okay,
going
yeah, fair
around.
enough.
It's very en vogue at the moment.
Can we have a show of hands live? Flying magpie. No hands.
Not a single hand.
The pride
All right.
of Aotearoa.
Oh. Oh, yes.
Oh,
we got
okay.
3 there.
What about
We might have the
women's
takers.
under 23 world champion?
Yeah.
Neve Fisher, black. Bit lengthy. We'll work on the length. Thank you so much for coming onto the Wheelhouse podcast.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you and congratulations. You are sensational. We look forward to following your progress. You're now the Wheelhouse mascot. Welcome. Look, if you happen to see your face on our merchandise, just don't be surprised.
No. As long as it's not beside a magpie.
No,
or an
no,
Australian flag.
And Joel can sort out the royalties. You're on that, right?
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you came because I was saying to Kate, do you reckon we could get her to dial in during the doping protocols after the race? And that might have been a little bit awkward, but we're so glad you actually came up here and made time. And congratulations once again, extraordinary performance. And you know what? They won't be calling you Neem or Nyemha for too much longer at this rate. Well done. Give her another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, on the Wheelhouse podcast. Thank you so much.
You.
Well, I'm still a little bit goosebumpy. I got the shivers, Kate Bates. That was a lovely surprise. At the top of the show, we're like, oh, we were going to have a guest, but she's not coming. And then all of a sudden,
boom.
Pow.
We didn't even plan that.
Oh, there's the nickname.
That's well done.
There's the nickname.
What?
The Pride of Australia.
Oh, I was like, you can't call her we didn't plan that.
No.
That's not a catchy
That's not
nickname.
a nickname. On the Wheelhouse podcast, I want to quickly run through a few things. Very, very grateful for your company tonight. If you have joined us, if you're listening, if you're watching on, thank you for doing so. Now, the juniors, Kate Bates, a much tighter race. Emil Herzog got home for Germany. Now, I'm sorry to do this, but who did he beat?
You're not sorry. His name is Antonio Morgado.
Yeah, what did
from
you?
Portugal.
Yeah, what did you call him?
Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas.
He looked like Zorro. I didn't mean to say it.
He rode like
Zorro.
Zorro.
He does. No, he looks like Zorro.
Yeah.
Like, he's supposedly 17 or 18. He looks like a full-grown Zorro man.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, Matty Dinham, the top 10, the only Aussie top 10 in the men's under 23s. I want to ask you about this no pro contract. Now, this is a bit of an issue for you. You've got a rather withering stance on some of the rules in the under 23s, I believe.
I do. So currently, anybody under the age of under 23 can ride. Well, technically not. You can't be an under 19, but, details. But a lot of the riders, in fact, the fella that won, Fedorov, he just came from the Vuelta. That doesn't seem very sporting. And in a very weird quirk that the UCI hasn't been able to explain to us yet, he rode the elite men's time trial. Not the under 23s, the elite men's time trial. And then he jumped back to under 23s.
That's it.
I don't think it's very...
It seems just a tiny bit messy, if I may.
There's 2 elements to it, and I think you have to be careful discussing it because it's not the athlete's fault. They're given the chance, they can do whatever they like.
Okay.
But it started as a bridge between under 19s and elite, and it's done such a good job that we now have some of the world's best, Evenepoel, Pogacar.
Just to mention, or just to rattle off a few.
A few who are under 23. So clearly, it would be silly to have a straight interpretation of the rule and allow them to race.
Yep, okay.
But I don't know. I have a slight concern with being able to ride a Grand Tour and then come and ride an under 23 race and in the middle ride the elite world championships in the time trial. I'm not suggesting it's his fault, but I don't think that's a very sporting way to approach it. Now, in saying that, the vast majority of the top 20 are already pro riders, except Matty Dinham.
Our Matty.
Yeah, and
Matty.
I will say there is perhaps a bit of bias.
Okay.
Because he's an Aussie, and I just feel like I didn't like it from the start. And I've got to say, social media was going bananas. Like, people were talking about it a lot. And not many people think the current rules are good rules. But there's not a lot of consensus on what the rules should be. Perhaps first year in a Pro Tour team, a World Tour team, you can race and that's it. But you can't turn pro at 19 and then go all the way through to under 23s.
It's a little bit bizarre.
It's complicated, but you know, look, I think because Matt Dinham's the only one without a World Tour contract next year. Everybody's been talking about him, which increases his chance of being in the World Tour next year. So good marketing.
It's like, well, exactly. It's still a very good way to have his name in the headlines, and the result obviously helps as well. Well done to him. On the Wheelhouse podcast, just want to rattle off a few things before we finish off tonight. I want to ask you, firstly, your thoughts on the UCI, the UCI anthem. We've been talking about anthems a bit tonight.
We have.
Another day, another anthem. What do you reckon?
Well, look, it has a bit of a PR problem, I would say, because apparently it's been playing at every podium presentation, and I've missed it every time. The only thing I hear is the orchestral, that sounds funny, Imagine Dragons, but that's what's playing. I hear that. Apparently before that, there's the new UCI anthem. It is music only. I'm not even sure what kind of instruments we're talking.
Oh.
I don't know if there's an oboe. I don't know if it's strings or woods or...
Okay, we need to find that out.
I'm clearly not very musically inclined, given my description of
It's definitely
all
not
of
like
it.
techno music, though.
It could be.
Okay, all right. We're going to find that out now.
Yeah, well, I think I need to find for our social media the Astana rap. I'll just leave it there.
Okay.
But it is remarkable is a word I could use. And so, good on the UCI.
Yeah.
Perhaps we could have a consideration about putting some words to it. There are no words. It is music only.
I think we could absolutely
There's a
submit
challenge.
some suggested lyrics. I think that's kind of why we exist, is to help the UCI. Now, on the UCI, just quickly, now you had a visitor today during your broadcast, a relatively big name, David Lepartien, came in, only the president of UCI. You had an encounter. It was another quirky Kate Bates encounter.
Look, this one wasn't my fault, though. It's entirely his fault. I'd taken my World Champions jersey from 2007 onto the set because I thought, add a touch of rainbow, it'll make this place look fantastic. So I've got it laid out on the table. Now, the design of the World Champions jersey has changed since I won. Now it's just all straight lines. But back in the day, depending on what discipline you won, it was either a curve for track, it was a clock if you won the time trial, a mountain for mountain biking. So it does age it a little bit.
Yep.
But this lovely fella walks in, sits down, looks at the table and says, "Oh, that's vintage." And so then the host said, "Oh, that's hers." And he looks at me and he was like, "Oh, I didn't mean to say your vintage."
Oh, no.
And it was really awkward.
Hang on, did he establish, it's yours not because you bought it from the souvenir shop, it's yours because you won it?
He established that, yes.
Okay,
but
good.
then I think he was very awkward, and it made it even more awkward because they were trying to cue him to go on television and count him in, and he was trying to undo the awkwardness by talking more. "Oh, where did you win it? Oh, that's a great velodrome. Oh, I've got a piece of wood from that velodrome.
Oh, good.
I was there the day it opened."
Okay.
And they're rapping him because he's about to be on television. It was...
Yeah.
I-
Okay, was it one
it
of those
was mortifying.
moments where it's like, I knew that, yeah, okay.
He
that
then
one.
apologised again on the way out. "I'm so sorry." He said, "In French, it is very rude to call a woman old, and I'm not calling you old." So there you
Well,
go.
lovely. Well, credit to him. Credit to him. He it sounds like a good encounter. We talk about prizes a lot. One of the all-time prizes is obviously the rainbow jersey. I just want to finish off by asking about a rather quirky prize. Now, a member of the Trident, Ellen Van Dyke, went on social media very recently. Now, she won a race, I believe, in Holland back in March. It was a time trial and was given a rather quirky prize. And I love that I get to ask you to tell everyone listening and watching on what that prize was, because I know how much you love discussing this topic, Kate. What was the prize?
This is fun. It was a hamper. It was a beautiful hamper, Joel, and she was really thrilled to win it, and she put a lovely photo on social media of it.
What was the nature of the hamper, Kate Bates?
There were some socks. There was an eye mask.
Oh, yeah.
There was some lubricant.
Oh. What else, Kate Bates?
There was handcuffs and there were sex toys.
Thanks, Kate. We did it. You said it. She received a sex toy hamper.
She did. Yeah.
That has
she
got to be up there. How do you feel?
look-
Well done. Thank you.
I believe a number of them received said hampers. Yes.
I've read about a lot of interesting prizes. I've read about a vacuum cleaner. I've read about a piglet, like an actual
Ooh.
piglet. A big wheel of cheese. I'm okay with that.
No, that's great. You chop the middle out, you put your pasta in, you swoosh it all around.
Yep.
Ta-da!
That does it. That does it.
Delicious.
What's your best ever prize or weirdest ever?
I haven't had too many weird ones. I've had some pretty average ones, but I got a beautiful, not an actual piglet, a part of a pig, like a leg of ham.
Oh, a leg of ham.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It wasn't alive. They didn't give it to me. Although I've heard, actually, and I'll have to have this confirmed, but athletes been given cows.
Like live
Cows.
Wow, really?
Yes, as presents.
That's an interesting move.
Well, oh, God.
Sorry.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Now, the reason that the Ellen thing is coming up, though, is because if it wasn't bad enough back in March, they've doubled down.
Yeah.
And I don't know the name of the company, and that's an honest thing, Joel. I do not know the name of the company.
Okay.
They tagged her on social media and said, hey, we've got some new products out. They're fantastic. Would you like some?
Oh, sure. Follow up. Okay.
Yes, and she's very funny. I reckon it's kind of like tweet of the week, tweet of the championships.
Okay.
She wrote back and said, thanks so much for the offer. It's really kind of you. But from the hamper you gave us earlier in the year, we're still trying to figure out what to do with it, so we don't need any more.
At least she was honest.
There you go.
That's
Yeah.
really, really interesting. This is the Wheelhouse podcast. We're coming to you live from the Made in Racing Specialised AU pop-up in Wollongong. My name's Joel Spreadbar. I've had a tremendous amount of fun. Your name's Kate Bates. It's been awkward at times, but especially talking about Ellen Van Dyke's prize pack.
You started that, so
It's been fun, though.
it has been fun.
Well, I just want to say...
It's been really fun.
Really fun. Oh, you beat me to it. And as for the cow prize, how dairy they? How very dairy they? I just one more pun for the road.
Is that your how to end the episode?
Check us out. Like, share, subscribe. The puns will keep flowing on the Wheelhouse podcast. This has been a fun ride. We'll see you next time.
And the crowd goes wild.
Stop, please. Stop. My goodness. The Wheelhouse is produced by River City Studios for Listener. Executive produced by Luke Mears and the mysterious Merksy. It's written and hosted by Kate Bates and me, Joel Spreadbar.